Welcome to week 3 of the high school football season. I'm Fred Robledo of the San Gabriel Valley News Group, here with Erik Boal of the Los Angeles Daily News. Once again, Erik, we've got a really good lineup of Friday night games.
We don't disappoint you, Fred.
No, we've got a couple of undefeated teams going head-to-head. We'll discuss 4 games, and we'll go into the rapid-fire segment where you give us your quick thoughts on a lot of other games in the area. But let's start it off with one of the biggies. Really, you got in the Inland Empire in the Valley. It doesn't get too much better than Alemany. 3-0 at Corona Centennial, 1-1. Big game for Alemany after some of the non-league games they've had against kind of some pushover teams. You expect them to win. Corona Centennial is going to give them all they can handle.
Absolutely, but I told you last week that after Mirada and Pasadena, that now it gets real.
Yeah.
And you look at that score last week against JW North.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. 54-14.
Yeah, Alemany is for real, but now they're going to have to be real on the road, and obviously it's a totally different story. Corona Centennial head coach Matt Logan. They got Robert Weber at quarterback, Austin Rankin at the running back. They're going to give Alemany all they can handle. One thing I can guarantee the fans in this, Fred, there's going to be points scored. Alemany's averaging 49 a game. Corona Centennial, who even lost to St. Bonaventure but scored 35, is averaging 48 points a game. I think it's going to come down to the last possession, but I like Alemany squeaking it out on the road.
Alemany going 4-0. Do you like them really? Kind of your early season, Sarah league team. It looks like it.
I mean, they're going to have to survive Corona Centennial's punishing running game. We always know that Corona Centennial runs the ball well. If Alemany can stifle that, I think they've got too much speed and too much skill on the perimeter. That's why I like Alemany in a close game.
Now we got a battle of undefeateds going on Friday night at Chaminade. We got Chaminade 3-0 against Oaks Christian 3-0. Oaks Christian beat Del Oro 40-0. Granite Bay 48-13, and Venice 35-17. And we got Chaminade, they also beat Venice 37-20. Pulaski of Arkansas 49-39, and Valencia 41-27. Erik, both teams have been pretty impressive in these 3 victories.
Yeah, and as you can see, Fred, that common thread right there is that Venice game.
Yeah.
But there were 2 totally different games. Chaminade fell behind 13-0 in that game and then scored 30 unanswered. Oaks Christian put Venice away early. The final score is a little bit deceiving because Venice, as they always do, will remain competitive, fight all the way to the end. So the real key is how much Chaminade's going to be able to run the football and effectively with Terrell Newby, their standout running back. I just think Oaks Christian, they've got too much speed both on the wide receiver position and in the secondary, and I think their line play and their linebacker play might be just a little bit too physical for Chaminade. This is a great litmus test for Chaminade, which plays Notre Dame and Sarah in consecutive weeks after this. So I mean, obviously, it's a gauntlet for the Eagles.
And for those wondering how Oaks Christian would do in the post-Bill Riddell area, they're kind of answering that right now.
No, absolutely. I mean, they scored a ton of points. Brandon Dawkins is as good a junior quarterback as there is in the state. Maybe as good a quarterback as there is, period, in the state. He's got Francis Owusu, who's going to Stanford. Cameron Judge, UCLA-bound linebacker. There's just going to be stars galore all over the field, but I just think Oaks Christian has probably just got one too many stars for Chaminade.
Okay, we got another Friday night game. Birmingham undefeated 3-0 at Notre Dame. They're 2-1. Notre Dame lost to Sarah 26-23. That's their only loss, but no shame in that. No. Sarah's a pretty good team this year.
The one thing that I like about this game is, I mean, this is a great intersectional battle. It's a game that people in the San Fernando Valley always rally around. They always get excited about. But for the past couple of years, Birmingham struggled a little bit. If you remember that city championship team they had a few years back with Milton Knox at the running back, that was the last time they were really relevant in this game. I like the fact that Coach Jim Rose has gotten this team back to that kind of prominence, where a Notre Dame game matters for them. Now you see that they've played Banning and they've played Kennedy and they've played Grant. This is a huge step up for Birmingham, but they've got a quarterback, Trey Smith, and a running back, Isaiah Hastings. They're going to be able to kind of showcase themselves a little bit, but Notre Dame, I think with Kelly Hilinski at quarterback, Kalfani Muhammad at running back, defending state champion in the 1 and the 2, and Notre Dame's defense, I think Notre Dame is just probably a little bit more prepared for this game right now than Birmingham is. So I like Notre Dame, but I also like the fact more that Birmingham is relevant in this game again.
Okay, now we've got another battle of undefeateds. I'm not sure if this is going to be a close battle of undefeateds. Lacerna 3-0 at Westlake 3-0. Lacerna's beaten Rancho Christian 43-6. Downey 28-27 in overtime and survived Bonita 27-20. Is Westlake they're on another level, aren't they, Erik?
Well, yeah, but you had to throw Lacerna out there. We had to give Whittier some love. We had to show Eric Terrazas that we're paying attention to his teams and stuff like that. And Coach Margarito Beltran does a great job out of Lacerna, and they got quarterback Frankie Palmer and a lot of guys.
They were in the championship game last year.
Absolutely, and so was Westlake. So it's a battle of division finalists. But as we talked about last week, Westlake with the skill, with Neil Uscali at quarterback, with Deshaun Hunt playing both running back and defensive back, I said I didn't know if they'd be able to outscore Crenshaw.
44-41.
And sure enough, they did. Went down to a last-second field goal.
Yeah, you called that. You certainly called that.
Now the second game in a row that Westlake won on a field goal. Kevin Robledo coming up clutch in overtime against Del Oro.
What was his name?
Kevin Robledo.
Robledo. You hear that? No, he's not related, but it sounds great. It might be. You know, the Robledos are growing.
Absolutely. We couldn't just give Fred love. We had to give all the Robledos love. But yeah, Kevin Robledo kicked a game-winning field goal against Del Oro in overtime. Another one, last-second field goal against Crenshaw. Something tells me this is not coming down to a last-second field goal. But I love the fact that Lucerna is scheduling up against an opponent like Westlake, and they're really going to find out what they're all about moving forward in the Del Rio League.
Yeah, they needed a game like this after the first 3 games. Now, we're in the rapid-fire segment here. We got 5 more games. We're going to go pretty quick. This one, Temple City, a team after my heart, Eric. For people who remember how great they were in the 70s and this once proud program, they're 0-3 and have not scored a point this season. They're going to be playing Hoover, who's undefeated, 2-0 at Glendale High School. And if you asked me about this game 5 years ago, it wouldn't even be a game we're talking about. It would have been Temple City.
And that's why I bring it up, fans, because we're truly living in a parallel universe. The apocalypse is upon us. Temple City 0-3, hasn't scored. Hoover 2-0 for the first time since 2005, looking to go 3-0 for the first time in almost 20 years. This is a Thursday night special. Yeah. Look at the Daily News. Look at the Pasadena Star News. I just want Temple City to score.
Score some points,
but kudos to Coach Andrew Pulicki at Hoover. They were 0-10 last year. Now 2-0, looking to go 3-0. It's a great.
If the Rams don't score points this week, Eric, it's going to be hard. They may have to wait to Blair before they can score points later in the year. Okay, here's a couple of teams you know very well. I mean, you're from this area. La Cañada 1-1 versus Crescenta Valley 1-1. This is Friday night at Glendale High School.
It was kind of this theme of this Pacifically Rio Honda League thing. La Cañada, stunning loss last week, Fred, to Glendale, 21-3 after looking pretty good in the opener against Alhambra. Crescenta Valley goes to Santa Paula in their opener and wins a big game and then turns around and loses to San Marino. Which, remember, I told you, San Marino at home last week. Watch out.
They're looking pretty good.
And Wofford looked really good. He ran well. He passed well and stuff. So this is, both teams are 1-1. It's a huge intra-city rivalry. They're playing at Glendale. There's going to be a great crowd. And this is kind of a defining game for both teams going forward. For Coach Paul Schilling at CV, for Coach James Sims at La Cañada. They've got to win and move forward to be able to set the tone for the rest of their season.
And here are a couple other teams we're familiar with. St. Francis 2-0 at La Mirada. 2-1. I was just at the La Mirada's last game. They gave Bishop Amat all they can handle before losing 34-24. That game was tied going into the fourth quarter, Eric. They have a pretty balanced attack. Tell us about St. Francis and what kind of
another huge road test for St. Francis. They went up to Rigetti, that long trip up to Santa Maria last week. They won 29-22. Jared Leibowitz came through like I expected a senior to do it at the quarterback position. But this is a dangerous game. I'm glad you brought up the Bishop Amat situation because this La Mirada team, they're 2-1. They are no joke.
Yeah. And they've blown out La Habra and they've blown out St. Paul. That's how they started 2-0.
Exactly.
They're the number 1 team in the Southeast, even after losing to Bishop Amat last week.
Yeah, absolutely. And so obviously, St. Francis not only to prepare itself for the Mission League, but for the Western Division playoffs, they need a good showing here, and a win would really catapult them this season.
How about, here's another one. We got Granada Hills 2-1 at Kennedy. They haven't won yet. They're 0-2. That game is going to be Friday at 7 o'clock.
This is the Chamber of Commerce game in the city of Granada Hills. The Chamber of Commerce Cup is at stake. And don't be fooled by the Kennedy record because they played 2 quality Southern Section opponents. I actually think that they might be a little bit more battle tested, a little bit tougher in this game. I commented on our show last week that Granada Hills hadn't allowed a point. And then they proceed to go out and lose to Harvard Westlake 45-0. So Coach Billy Parra and the Highlanders, they need to bounce back, and what better way to do it against your neighborhood rival? And
our last game here is the Battle of the Parks. You talked about the Chamber of Commerce. This is the Battle of the Parks. Newberry Park 2-1 at Moore Park 2-0 Friday 7 o'clock. Eric.
In the past couple of years, the Marmoni League had played that 10-game schedule, so everybody was playing 9 league games. Well, these are still both Marmoni League teams, but now they split up into 2 5-team divisions. So this is like a Marmoni East versus a Marmoni West battle. It doesn't necessarily technically count in the Marmoni League standings, even though they're Marmoni League rivals. I know it's very complicated, but the bottom line is at the end of the year, the Marmoni West champion will play the Marmoni East champion on the last week of the regular season to determine who the number 1 seed is going into the playoffs. Moore Park's defense is one of the most underrated in Southern California. They went to Frontier in Bakersfield last week and won a big game. Newberry Park played Thousand Oaks tough in overtime, but I think Moore Park's defense is just going to be too good.
Very good. There you have it. Another week with Erik Boal, who breaks down the big Los Angeles Daily Daily News Games of the Week. You can go on his blog on Friday, the Daily News blog, and look at the results. Find out if he's right, how close he is, if he knows what he's talking about. Alemany and Corona Centennial, obviously the really big game, but go to the blog Friday night. They'll have the results there, and you can discuss all of it. Again, Eric, thanks again, and we'll do this again next week.
And enjoy Bishop Amat Charter Oak.
Oh, man, there's nothing bigger than that in the San Gabriel Valley this week.
Thanks.